now that we've talked leadership, let's talk motivation. Because we need to know what motivates our employees and what motivates each employee. And in EMS, and typically in emergency services, it's kind of a viewpoint that just go do your job and we don't need to motivate you. Well, motivation is very important. So let's discuss it for a few minutes. If we boil it down to its kind of bare minimum, well, employees are motivated by rewards. And those rewards can be intrinsic or they can be extrinsic. So, intrinsic rewards, think of altruism. I'm doing this job because it makes me feel good. I'm doing something for society, for the community. Extrinsic awards, well, you're giving me money for this job, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it to the best of my abilities because you're giving me money. Our employees aren't going to fall into one of these two kind of really broad categories, but they're going to have different motivations within each. Right? They're going to respond to intrinsic rewards, and they're going to respond to extrinsic rewards. So knowing our employees and what they want as a reward goes a long way because we're going to offer these intrinsic rewards and we're going to offer extrinsic rewards. And these intrinsic rewards that we can cultivate and kind of push forward a little bit. And these interpersonal relationships. So I do a good job at my job. Maybe I do good work at my place of employment because I love the people that I work with. I love the environment in which I work. That's very intrinsic. So these interpersonal relationships, if we can cultivate these, if we can um, not necessarily reward interpersonal relationships, but um, you know, say if you have a partner that you love to work with, keep them together. That's an interpersonal relationship. If you break them up, both employees are going to lose this intrinsic motivation. Other rewards, intrinsic rewards, just meaningful work, that altruism. I do good work for the community. I do good work for society. And then shared governance. This intrinsic reward, maybe I have a voice in the organization. So when we're crafting these strategic plans, moving forward with goals and objectives and programs, I have a voice in this, and people listen to me. So all of these things are just a few examples of these intrinsic rewards. And then on the extrinsic side, we've got these extrinsic rewards, salary, just money. You give me money, that's going to motivate me to do better work or more effective, more productive work. Same thing with benefits, 401ks, pension plans, health benefits, health insurance, dental insurance, vision, just all these ancillary benefits or extrinsic rewards. Excuse me. Flexible scheduling, right? Am I fully in charge of my schedule? Do I have a lot of flexibility in my schedule? Am I working way too much, keeping me away from maybe my family, my friends, other responsibilities? And then recognitions. So maybe awards, maybe cardiac save recognitions, things like that. Those are all extrinsic rewards. And when we talk intrinsic versus extrinsic rewards, we all have both motivations. Every one of us does. We all, relate to altruism. We all relate to salary and benefits. We're all looking at these things. So one is not better than the other. One is not more, um, kind of more. What's the word? More, like valiant than the other. So, but we need to pay attention to both intrinsic and extrinsic rewards, and we need to offer both and kind of reward both and cultivate both. Then from a managerial standpoint, we'll get into some actual like motivational theory, and one of the big ones out there is it's a little older, but it's kind of a foundational theory. Theory X, theory Y. And from a managerial standpoint, me as a leader, you as a leader, if we're in theory X, you as a leader, you view your employees as just intrinsically unmotivated. They dislike their work and they need to be motivated kind of differently, more extrinsically. Theory Y, as a leader, I view my employees as intrinsically motivated and wanting growth within the organization. So a lot of intrinsic rewards will help these employees along. There's also a little later on this theory Z, in which employees are completely invested in this organization, and what they're looking for is this long-term employment. They're here for the long haul. So they want long-term employment, they want that stability, and they're looking for promotion as a means of motivation. Then we also have this acquired needs theory. And again, like we have all these theories of motivation, we have all these theories of leadership, we have all these theories of whatever. And these theories can apply, they cannot apply. So we're just presenting these theories, and so no one falls into like one singular box. It's very fluid. But this acquired needs theory of motivation is that our employees, they have a need for achievement. Kind of goes into recognition. They want to progress. Employees, for the most part, don't want to stay stagnant in their position, in their responsibilities. They also need a need for affiliation. So that gets to, what sticker do you have on your car? Do you have a National Registry sticker on your car? Do you have some sort of paramedic sticker on your car? Maybe your organization that you work for has their own little sticker that you put on your car, right? We need a need. We need a need. There we go. We have a need for affiliation within a group and within this organization. And then we have a need for power. We want to have power over our own provenance, and that's not necessarily a negative thing, but need for achievement, affiliation, and power pushes us forward. So this acquired needs goes 1, 2, 3. We achieve, we've got affiliation, and then we can build power within our affiliation with our achievements. Now, why does motivation matter? Why are we talking about this? Well, motivated employees are happier employees, and that's kind of no shit statement, but has to be said. Motivated employees are happy employees. Motivated employees stay longer with your organization. You don't have those turnover costs, and you have expertise within your organization. That's a wonderful thing. Motivated employees are more productive. They're more autonomous. When we talk about leadership and getting into that kind of stage 4 delegation, where your employee knows what to do, knows how to do it, and you don't really have to micromanage them at all. You just give them a general task and they go out and do it. They're more autonomous. So the more motivated employees you have, the more productive they are, the more autonomous they have. And that all kind of comes down to the bottom line on the budget, where motivation has a financial effects. If you have a lot of motivated employees, you're going to be saving money. It's not going to be completely apparent. It's not going to be a line item. But if you have unmotivated employees, they're going to be leaving in droves, or they're going to be completely unproductive and inefficient. They're going to cost you money. So we want motivated employees. Again, kind of a no shit statement. And we want motivated employees. We want engaged employees. And engagement and motivation, similar but different concepts. So employee engagement, kind of 3 little separate areas of employee engagement. We've got rational engagement, where your employee understands her role and responsibilities within the organization. There's a job description. You know exactly what to do, and you do it, by the book. Rational engagement. From there, we can build emotional engagement, in which your employee brings passion to the work. So now I'm not just doing the job because that piece of paper, that job description says I have to do that job. I'm not putting a widget onto another screw onto another widget because it says I have to. I am super passionate about that widget. I love that screw. Oh my god, that is the best screw ever. So that emotional engagement, now I'm bringing passion into my work. We love that. And then we get to motivation. Then we get to this motivational engagement in which that employee is willing to invest in the organization, willing to go above and beyond, willing to put in extra effort to perform well. We want these motivational employees, these motivated employees. So when we talk about motivation, talking about motivated employees, we're going beyond the rational engagement. And this is your job, and your employee says, "Okay, I'll do my job." Now we're getting into this motivational engagement. We're saying, "This is your job," and your employee says, "I know that's my job. I can do that with my eyes closed." Well, hopefully, I'm not starting IVs and intubating with my eyes closed, but I can do that easily. I'm invested in this organization, and I want to go further. So we want this motivated employee. To get to that motivated employee, there are a number of strategies. We'll just hit on a few here. So as a leader, what can you do to try to motivate your employees? It's gonna differ a little bit based on your employee mix and what they see as their intrinsic and extrinsic motivators. But in general, a leader, if you expect the best out of your employees, they are going to deliver the best, and they're going to feel pushed, and they will appreciate that. They don't want to stay stagnant, right? Um, Almost no employee wants to stay stagnant. So expect the best. And they'll deliver the best, and they'll be motivated to perform to their best abilities. We also want to reward behaviors, desired behaviors, and reward good performance. Like we said, those cardiac arrest save ceremonies are wonderful because it puts a spotlight and this recognition on our employees that they don't usually get. We want to revitalize employees, right? So if we revitalize employees, we're working towards, uh, you know, we're going after targets. We're going after, we've got all these organizational goals, but say, go on vacation, support kind of well being of your employees, support that work life balance of your employees, do things outside of work with your employees, right? We're kind of revitalizing. It's not just work, it's not just the job, it's family, it's a community, it's an environment. So revitalize your employees. And then we can also focus on collaboration and not competition. So I worked for, just as an example, I worked for an agency. I won't call them out, won't name them. But one of the things that they monitored was a driving score. We had little black boxes on our ambulances, and if we took a corner too hard, if we braked too hard, if we did something, it kind of set this off, and we got a driving score. And every quarter, that driving score was posted, and not just given to us, but posted on the wall. So a little bit of competition there, right? Because my driving score is better than yours, or maybe worse than hers, right? So it's a little bit of competition. Instead, focusing on that competition, those driving scores were great information, and can be argued that they were necessary in our job performance, but not necessarily publicly viewable and publicly available. So let's focus on collaboration and partners and partnerships within our organizations. And then no discussion of employee motivation is complete without talking about generational differences. So we've got our baby boomers who are in large part now mostly retired, but we still have a few out there working in our organizations. Then we've got our Gen X, our millennials, and now our Gen Zs coming into the fold. Every generation, none is better than another, none is worse than another. We just have different focuses and different motivations. So we need to tailor our motivations to the employees that we're shooting for, right? So I've got a brand new Gen Z 19-year-old EMT. My motivational strategy for that employee is going to differ a lot from that Gen X employee who's a little bit older, a little bit more experienced, just comes from a different generation, right? Different than millennials, different than baby boomers. So again, none better than another, none worse than another, just different strategies, and that's beyond the scope of this video. But just know that there are different generations. They have different needs. They have different motivations, and we need to respect um, and apply those different motivations to those different employees because they're all valuable employees. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or cuss words, let me know.